Welcome back to the Total Focus Podcast. I'm your host, Paul. Our sponsor of the week is Mid-Atlantic Video and Photography Productions. No matter if you need photos or video, we are the team to get the job done. No matter if you need photos for that great wedding or that special event, they can help you with your photos. And if you need a videographer for your wedding day, or if you need to shoot a music video or a special family event, they are the videographers to get the job done. So no matter if you're thinking about photos or videos, please contact Mid-Atlantic Video and Photography Productions for your next video. Or our special guest this week is a former Ms. Teen USA 1989 and is also a former Ms. USA 1997. Brandi Sherwood is on the show. Wow, I am so excited for this interview. Brandi is the first Miss USA that I've had the opportunity to interview, as well as the first Miss Teen USA I've had the privilege of working with. And just for our questionnaire and random question, Brandi Sherwood is the first young lady to hold both titles of Teen USA and Miss USA, holding the title in 89 for Teen and 1997 for Miss USA. And on top of it, she's a well-respected actress and was on the Price is Right show as a performer for several years. So on top of being Miss USA and Miss Teen, she was also on the Price is Right. What an incredible person. If you want to be a successful actor, dancer, if you want to win Miss USA or Miss Teen, you need to listen to this episode. I can't encourage you more. Stay tuned. And welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have my first Miss USA on the show. Ooh, thank you so much. And to my listeners that aren't really like in the know, she is the first Miss USA on my show, but she was also the first Miss Teen USA to go on and win Miss USA as well. So kudos to you, because that's just like so incredible and so exciting. I mean,
well, thank you so much. I was the first teen to ever hold the title of Miss USA, but I actually was first runner-up at Miss USA. And then the winner went on to win Miss Universe, and I became Miss USA. So I did hold both titles, but I had the experience of both winning on stage and then assuming the title after.
I know. I should have clarified that.
Universe.
Yeah, I know. I should have clarified. You technically were because the young lady won Miss Universe, and but you were still Miss USA. So either the book still. So
that's right. It's
in
the book, right?
It's just the way like a win is a win. Does it really matter if you won by 20 or you won by 1? Right? You still won. You still won. So
that's so sweet of you. The pageant fans and people, it's funny, it's amazing how people follow and they know it's so impressive what people that really follow these things what they know. I'm not really familiar with what's going on now so much as I was back then, but it's really interesting.
Well, it's really a sport. As a photographer, yes. I look at it as a sport. Just like I love my baseball, and baseball is a sport. Pageantry is a sport, and you have people that come into the pageantry world, do really well, and then they retire, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there are the same thing with athletes. They do really well, and then they retire. They go home. They have a great family, and then they don't have to socialize with that group. There's no mandate, so
It's so true. It's a small world, but you're right. I always saw it similar to sports too. My husband he's a big Saints fan from New Orleans, and he'll tell me stories about this guy. He came up, this was his background, and he'll tell me the story, and I'll get really invested, and then I'll want to watch the game and see what happens. And it's kind of like that with pageants. When you know the backstory or what's gone on and things like that, it makes it a lot more interesting.
Oh, absolutely. So one of the reasons why I personally love baseball, because, stats really do matter. You can go back 50, 100 years and still say how comparative, but Um, I'm sure I'm gonna bore my my listeners, so I know that they have come here to hear all about your
They didn't come here
experience.
for baseball?
No, which I would love to talk about. But I'm sure they want to know all about your experience. So, the question I always ask to all my guests is, what are the key things that you actually got into pageantry or the acting world? Were you always wanting to do that, or were you focused on other things? Were you doing um, instruments, or were you ballet, or are you pageant focused, actor focused as a little child?
That's a great question. I grew up in Idaho, so it wasn't a huge pageant state, but I was really interested in dance. So I started from the time I was 3. And my mom tells this story about the Miss America pageant being on. And she said I was sitting in front of the TV. And when the girl won and she was carrying her scepter down that long walkway, I turned and I looked over my shoulder and I said, I'm going to be her one day. And she laughed and thought that was, and she would tell me that story later. Now I didn't realize it would be Miss USA if you flash forward, but that was like one little moment. And I wasn't really in kiddie pageants or anything like that. We didn't have, I just did dance and was involved in school. And then I saw my cousin compete in the Miss National Teenager pageant, and that was like a scholarship pageant, and you also had a talent. And I saw that and I really wanted to do it. I thought it seemed like a lot of fun, a great opportunity to show your talent. Grades were important. I loved it watching her compete. And so that was my first pageant, National Teenager. And
And what
I
year?
also went,
What year was that?
oh goodness, that was, oh, let's see.
Well,
I
let's do it
was,
this way. How many years from Teen USA was that? So Teen USA
yeah.
is 89. So how many years back from that point? Just
So I
to just give
did
you.
it was Miss National Preteen was the first one. So I did 3 pageant lines. I did Miss National Teenager. So there was a preteen. So in my first one, I was 12, and then I went to uh, the National Teenager at 15. I went to the Nationals, and so it was 15 to 18 competing, and I got third runner up at Nationals. And they kind of factored in your GPA into the whole score and everything. That was part of your score.
Oh, I
And I
like
won some,
that. I love
yeah,
that
that was part of
idea.
your, it
I
was
I like
really,
I love promoting a smart woman. That's an awesome idea.
yes.
Why don't we have that? Oh my God.
And I have to tell you, it was a big lesson for me because I mean, I had a really good GPA, but if you had like a 4.0 or a 3.9 as opposed to a 3.5, it was better for your score. And I was 15 competing with 18-year-olds, and I remember getting there and thinking, oh boy, how do I come? There's such a jump from 15 to 18. And so I competed. And then at the end, I remember someone telling me, hey, if you had a stronger GPA, like a 4.0, a perfect grade average, or a 3.9, you would have done even better. And you know what? I hit the books even harder. And so it was a really good lesson for me. It was such a great experience. It was in Florida. And then I remember watching the Miss Teen USA pageant every year on TV. And I really wanted to do that. And so then I ran for Miss Teen USA, and I was 18 when I went to nationals there.
So basically, you really kind of worked up your way. You did a couple of pageants and then really took a big leap, and it happened to all pay off at the right point. Is that the right way to say it? Or
I
am I
guess,
am I putting things not in the right projective?
yeah, I guess it depends on where. It's like someone will say, oh, were you always a pageant girl? And I think, well, I did really 3 systems, but I wasn't in a pageant every year. Like in the South, they're in pageants, a lot of girls all the time, every year there's a lot of pageants. My life was dance, and when I got older I wanted to do pageants, but I didn't do a ton of pageants. So I guess it's all relative to, you know um where you live, how big pageants are, that kind of thing. So yeah, I did a few, and the first one, third runner up at nationals, and then Miss Teen USA. That was amazing to win that pageant coming from, a small state where you go in and it can be very intimidating. I remember the former title holders helping me pack and saying, "Oh, when you get there, you're competing with Miss California and Miss Texas, and they have these amazing wardrobes and these trainers, and you got to be ready." And they came to my house when I was packing, and they're like, "Oh no, you only have 7 bags. You're going back for 3 weeks. You got to be ready. You got to just start throwing things into bags." So when I went to Miss Teen USA for 3 weeks, I ended up, these girls helped me pack that were former title holders, and I had, I think, like 14 or 15 bags for
Well,
3 weeks.
hey, kudos to those sisters, because if it wasn't for them, you probably would. That sounds like some pretty awesome people, because
They were pulling everything out of my closet, and I can't say it was, amazing. Some of these girls come so prepared, and being prepared encompasses so many things. There's the wardrobe. You might work with someone on current events and really get to know yourself and public speaking. You're working for sponsors, so there's some modeling. There's so much charity involved. You can be involved in the charities. That's what I love about the Miss USA line is you can be involved in many charities and also do one specific one that you see more as a platform for you. So I loved that. It's just really, I think it takes a well-rounded individual to be able to step into all those different roles that you might have during a given year.
well, I agree with that comment, because I think it takes a very well-rounded person to be able to go to public appearances, do TV interviews, talk in front of senators, congressmen, hopefully the president. So you need someone who can take on that pressure. So clearly, the
Absolutely.
judges felt that you were able to rise to that occasion. So you had
Thank
mentioned
you.
no. You had mentioned dance. So is dance what you contribute, like being comfortable on stage or being in good health? Is that one of the key factors that you feel that gave you confidence, or put you in a spot where, at least as a teen, that you were good, or am I overblowing the whole dance um, philosophy there?
No, I think you're spot on. I think dance makes you just comfortable in your own skin, expressing yourself, especially on stage. Um, Music, just it made me very comfortable on a stage, is the whole, you you know, dance experience. I just loved it. And it also exposed me. I won a scholarship in Salt Lake City. We went to a convention and I won a scholarship out to Joe Tremaine Dance Studios in the summers. So I would come out and we would get to dance. And my grandparents retired in Laguna Beach. So my grandma would bring me up in the car and pack my lunch, and I'd dance at these studios. And it was just really exciting to be able to do that, but it definitely helped with pageants.
Well, yeah, it sounds like it did. It sounds like it's made a huge impact on your life. If it wasn't for pageantry, do you think dance would have been one of your major impacts in your younger career, younger life?
I That's interesting. I don't know. I think it all kind of worked together. I did the dance, I did pageants. Later, I got into some acting. I went to a conservatory in Los Angeles, the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. And when you go there, they tell you you have to study dance, singing, and acting. And they said if you don't feel you're a good dancer, you still have to take some dance classes so you're comfortable with movement. And I didn't feel I was a strong singer. I mean, I can sing okay. Maybe I'm like more of a shower, sing in front of my kids and embarrass them. But the anxiety to have to sing in front of people made me nervous. But they had us do it, and it was so good. So all of those things were things I studied, and pageants. It's one night of being on a stage. Well, not just one night. There's a very glamorous night of being on the stage, but so much of the year is working. You could be working with individuals or going into schools or into, a retirement center. There's just so many different things involved, but it all stems from that one night on the stage that people see, and they see it as this very glamorous event. And it's really a job for the year when the girl wins her title. A lot of people don't realize what's involved in that, and it's really interesting because there's just so much involved in what makes the title holder. It's that one night that you see maybe on TV, and then people don't follow the year so much unless they're tapped into the pageant world.
Yeah, people only recognize you unless you wear your sash or crown. It's sad, but I'm kind of devastated that they tried to play the tricky rue with Miss America this year and didn't give her sash until like 3 weeks in. So,
Oh, really? Oh, I
yeah,
didn't know that. Why?
they
Why was that?
they decided because they've been playing around with the rules and the way they only
Sure.
crowned her with her crown, and they didn't provide her a sash until like 3 weeks in because they thought she didn't need a sash. But
Oh, wow.
like media and like people like that are like not pageant people, like you said, they need like visual cues to be like, she's Miss America, she's Miss USA.
Sure. Sure.
We live in a TV world today, so I mean, that as
It's
much as
true.
anyone.
I laughed when I won Miss Teen USA. They put the sash on and the crown, and the sash got flipped around, so it said nothing. It was like Miss No Name.
But see that isn't that because they say when it falls through the crown, if the crown falls through your head, it's supposed to be good luck. So I wonder if it was good luck that.
Oh, really?
Yes. So maybe
That
that
is
was
so.
maybe
I
that
did
maybe
not know that.
maybe that was what good luck that rolled you into Miss USA. So
And I had no clue. I just was it was literally an out of body experience when that happened. And I look back and I see that, Miss No Name up there, so excited, smiling, and it was just an amazing moment. It's when you think of those moments in your life, those huge, that was definitely one of them. I put it right up there with having my children, obviously, and getting married,
of
but those
course,
moments that just take your breath away. Literally, if you see the video, I was hyperventilating at Miss Teen USA.
I would hope you
I thought I
are.
would,
I mean,
I thought I would pass out.
you're right.
Yeah, it was, it was pretty crazy.
I I when those moments come, even if it's a state or a local, and the girl doesn't do that, I get really, really like concerned that
Well,
maybe this isn't the person I should have picked, or or they think they were gonna win the entire time. That's not necessarily good either. So that's always a good thing that like you're gonna pass out. So
and you wonder sometimes when people seem calm, is the inner storm going on? Maybe they're just good at not showing it. You always wonder.
fair.
Um, you never know. But I would imagine, boy, that's interesting. I wonder how many people haven't felt those nerves in that last moment, before they announce the winner.
There are some very strong women out there that they don't want to show emotion. So um, it I think that the one thing that's good is that um, women are given the opportunity to not have to this is the emotion that whatever you feel, if that's the way you need, then that's the way it is, and that's good too. You shouldn't be
Yes,
required to like a cookie cut. So
sure.
um, I want to ask some like fundamental questions
Okay.
because sometimes this is so going into that competition because the teen pageant didn't have as long of a legacy as it has now because it only started in '83, and
Right.
the USA the Ms. goes back to the early '30s, I believe.
Yes.
So were you even were you like stressed out, or did you feel pressure, like the legacy kind of thing, or was that something that after you won, did you feel the pressure or not? Or did you feel that, like, because this is like an uncharted, there is no huge legacy to have to live up to, that you felt a little bit less burden? Or because young people sometimes are just blind to that kind of stuff, were you just not aware of that kind of stuff?
Oh, you mean for the teen
Yes,
pageant?
yes.
You know that I hadn't thought of it. I mean, I knew about Miss USA, and then like you said, that's a really good point. It hadn't been around as long. I just remember it being a big deal to me. And when it would come on the TV, it's kind of like pageants used to be sort of like reality TV. Everyone would get around the TV and watch. Now there's so many choices, there's so many, I remember they would do the sections on the girls and their life, or showing the city they were having the pageant in, and you got a sense of the girls beyond the glamour on the stage, and I always loved that. So I was just so excited to, go in and represent my state. And I knew it was a national pageant. It was televised. So there's pressure absolutely when you win any pageant. You you become, there's this title, and it's beyond you. It's the title, and you're bringing what you have to it, but you want to do it justice. You want to do a good job. You don't know what to expect. Will it be what I thought? I'm going to learn things. I want to give it my all. Will people accept me? All those things that anyone has, whether it's your first day of school, or, winning a national title, or landing a huge job. You really want to live up to people's expectations, but still stay true to who you are. So I just really remember wanting to do a good job when I won, and thought, I just have to be me and do the best I can, and we'll see where it goes.
Hey, I I think that's, that's the best way to say it, clear, you know, sometimes just trying to do the best job possible and not trying to live up to other people's expectations is probably the best way to go.
And it's funny, when I was Miss USA, I'm not, I would run into people and they would say, you're Miss USA. And I would get a lot. I expected you to be taller, and I'm 5'7". So, but
Ooh,
I guess,
did that hurt?
yeah,
Because that to me it hurts. Like,
it was
that's an
hard.
undercut. That's like, so people don't understand. Like, that's such an undercut.
I expected, I think it's a larger than life kind of, there was a run where the girls, I remember, I think you had to be really tall for a while, and 5'7" is a decent height. And they weren't mean, but they would just, I think people expect you to be like almost 6 feet tall, and it's like you walk in with that sash and that crown, and it's sort of like the Easter bunny. You hear about the
Yes,
Easter bunny, but
yes.
there's the Easter bunny over there. That's the Easter bunny. And people have this perception that you're super tall. That was one thing that stuck out to me.
I always say it's like you're playing it and you're it. Like, look,
Yes.
she's it, and everyone points. Ooh, it. You know. I just wanted to take 1 second from this great interview and talk about our sponsor of the week, Mid-Atlantic Video and Photography Productions. No matter if you're planning a wedding, a special event, or you just need an amazing headshot, they are the team to get the job done. You can reach out to them at 443-422-3830. Again, that's 443-422-3830. Or you can just go right to their website at mavpp.com. Now let's get right back to the show and listen to this great interview. What are some of the cool things coming out of that year of service as teen USA? Did you learn anything really valuable that really put you on a like a genesis, that like you ran into a certain person or someone gave you something, or did you learn something in that experience that you held on to and it really made you a better person?
As teen, or
As
would you
teen.
say?
As teen.
Yes,
Because we're gonna talk about USA. We're going on.
sure. Absolutely. I think the big thing was traveling and get to seeing all sorts of places. That's the biggest education you can have when you have the opportunity to travel, which I might not have had if I didn't have that experience. And I went to Indonesia. I was able to actually fill in for Miss Universe for a day and see the culture going to, especially to a different country or to a different state. There's just such an education in that. And um, it was just really amazing. I grew with public speaking, with confidence, and with just having gratitude because, it's a year. And then you have this title, and then it's just back to normal or whatever you would call it. And you have to have a lot of um kind of knowing who you are, because when that year's over, you just go on into your life, and you're just that girl. You're not the title. You'll always have the title, but you're not a current title holder. So you have to really have a strong sense of self, I think, just to go back into your life and figure out what it is you want to do. So I just think there's so many lessons along the way. You just grow in every area you could imagine.
Oh yeah, I absolutely agree with you. You always are Miss Teen USA, but you have to really take as many of those opportunities and really learn from them. And you only have 12 months usually to so. But it sounds like you really. Do you feel that that title made a larger impact on your life and projective than the USA title?
I do. I do.
And
I probably
before you go on, and
oh,
then
sure.
the follow up question to that, if you have a younger person that is still eligible, would you recommend them to try to pursue that title? Maybe not specifically USA but the teen title in any. Does that title really help you? Would you recommend them pursuing that title?
I would recommend it if someone is interested in that. I think it's a great way to build self-confidence and get public speaking skills down, and uh, you get involved in a lot of charities. What you can do that outside of pageants too. But like my first pageant, I told you about, Miss National Teenager. Your grades were a part of it, and you had to meet a certain amount of hours for volunteer service, which I loved. And so it exposed me to that, and you had to meet, the hours, and it was required. And I loved that. That it just I felt made me a better person all the way around. And
And I
getting to
and I
oh, go
agree with
ahead.
you. No, and I agree with it. Those are two rules that they need to bring back, both volunteering as a requirement for so many hours, as well as school requirement. I love those ideas. So, like, I mean,
Yes.
that's so. I mean, like, that's a that's a haha. Yes, yes, that's a no brainer, right? Because we want educated, hardworking women that love our country, that want to do great, run for office, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's exactly the type of women we want to promote. I mean, that's a yeah. I mean,
And yeah, there's all types of careers, and women who that I've met who've become Miss USA that could be successes in the entertainment industry. They could be doctors, lawyers, or stay-at-home moms, or whatever it is that they're doing and excelling at. I guarantee that experience made them strive to wherever they are today, and whatever career, whatever she's doing. It's such a wonderful opportunity, and during the year you can make it your own. They'll ask you, as Miss USA, they said, what do you want to be involved in, what charities do you want to work with, and then they had their charities as well. So people don't realize how much of the year we had work hours. As Miss USA, we would go to the office and do our work hours, and then you might be, on a golf course in the morning doing a charity event, and then by night doing something else for the Heart Association, and then maybe the next day a TV show. So you can imagine how much that would help toward any career, just having those experiences and getting to travel and learn.
Especially at that young age too. I mean,
Oh,
you specifically, it sounded like filling in for Miss Universe for one day made a huge impact on your life.
oh, that was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. I have to tell you, in some of these countries, title holders, it's a big deal. I've heard like a formal title holder in certain countries, they just see them almost as a former head of state or something like that. And there, I went over to Indonesia because the girl was, it was all planned, and she had a medical situation come up. I think she had surgery. I don't know if it was her wisdom teeth or something happened, and they called me. I was in Los Angeles. You need to fill in. And I think this was actually after I had given up the teen title, or was it? Yeah. And then I got on the plane. I went to Indonesia, and they had all the posters of her, and they were chanting her name, Miss
Little
Universe.
awkward, but okay.
And I'm thinking, oh no, I've got my teen sash, my crown. I'm with Miss Malaysia, Miss Singapore. And I'm thinking, oh no, if they see I'm not Miss Universe, am I going to be in trouble here? They were chanting her name, and I was taken by car to an event, and people were in the streets jumping on the car. I thought, is Michael Jackson behind me? This was unbelievable.
No,
So
it's
it's like,
it's legit. It's a sport there. You are a queen in every sense
I
of the
got
word.
to, I was, it was like being Miss Universe for a day, this little window into what this was like. It was unbelievable. And then we toured, and we went to Bali, and we met the prime minister. I remember we would perform for the princess, and it was like a dream. It was amazing. So to have that experience, yes, at like 19 years old, 18 years old, traveling, a girl from Idaho who grew up, in the small town. I mean, not tiny, but 49,000 people in my town. It was just an amazing opportunity, and I will forever be grateful. It really changed my life and set me on the path to actually come to Los Angeles and pursue some dreams. And I look at what happened just moving to, California in my life. And it's funny how one turn in life can take you down a certain path, and you see that as a pivotal moment that got you to where you are today.
Well, it's one of those things that I personally promote. As along with being a photographer, I've owned a family travel agency with my mom for almost 15 years, and I agree with you 100%. Having that big trip, even if it was in your early 20s or in your late teens, is such an impactful thing, and it clearly is such an impactful thing for you. I had that experience going to London and Ireland for 3 weeks, and
Oh, wow.
that changed my life and made me understand like the broader spect. And I feel like
Yeah.
I'm very more compassionate towards like the world view and understanding that it's not just about America. And it sounds like you understand that too. And I think that's only because when you're young, you are more open to more experiences. So yeah, I encourage that so much, and that's good that you experienced that.
And you went with your mom, you said?
No, I had the opportunity to do a people to people trip, and I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but one of the late presidents set up a exchange program for a summer program that takes about 50 people along with chaperones, and you do homestays and you tour either Europe or United Kingdom. And the idea is to really build friendships in Europe, specifically in Europe. They also expanded into Australia, into New Zealand, to broaden
Wow.
American, yeah. So yeah,
That's
I
amazing.
I think it's absolutely incredible, and I think that just in that I think it's the right time where your brain just like kind of like goes So,
Yes.
and it sounds
I
like
think
you
you're
got
right.
it sounds like you got the because you can recall it like so easily. And to be
Oh,
honest,
yeah.
um, I know you have taken a step back. We had a brief conversation in the pageant world. So the last couple Miss Universes have been in the Philippines, and when she's come back, they've like mobbed the streets. So your experience
Yeah.
does not sound like so that sounds like how much they love pageantry, especially Miss Universe. That's pretty awesome. So
It's so amazing. And there was another trip where they had 12 title holders, and this was a mix of Miss USA's, Miss Teen USA's, girls in the Miss America, all different pageants, international pageant, and we went over to Thailand and did charity work and made appearances, and they loved the crowns, and they said, because normally you wear the crown maybe if you have a formal event or something like that. I don't know how it's probably changed over the
no,
years. I
no,
think
you're right. My best friend has a title with Maryland and USA, and she would protest wearing the crown. The crown would only be worn if she had to. She would love to wear her sash, but she wouldn't like to wear her crown. So that's still like the norm.
Yeah, it's funny because I think I remember wearing my crown more as a state title holder, and then obviously with Miss USA when they had the special crown that's
Oh yeah, the
real,
million
that
dollar one. Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
you would have to have bodyguards and things, and then things can happen with the crown. I learned that lesson, and
Oh, did you
I know
break
it's
your
happened
crown
with us.
too?
No, my did you hear the stories about
Oh
what
no!
happens to some?
If it's a good story and you're open to tell it, please tell
Yeah.
us.
Well, my story, it wasn't that. I heard one girl, she had went through like three. She just like stepped on one, and because I felt bad, mine got left in a rental car. My and it's it's in a
Wait,
gun
but
case.
but someone went through three of them. I mean,
Well,
I mean,
this is what I heard
that's a
allegedly.
fireable.
I,
I mean,
this is allegedly. I don't.
well, of course,
I think.
everything's allegedly.
I think
We don't speak of who we're talking about. Wink, wink.
I think maybe the travel managers who told me this were trying to make me feel better because uh, we switched cars and mine was left in the rental car and didn't realize till later. And of course, this crown, I don't know if you've heard, they were held in these gun cases.
I mean, it
And
doesn't
so when you
surprise
went through
me. So yeah.
when you went through the airport, it's so big that they found these gun cases. They had styrofoam, the crown. You'd go through the airport and they would always stop you because they knew that was a gun case and they weren't expecting a crown to pop
Oh, of
out of
course.
there. But
Of course.
yeah.
Did they also
So
do
I
the crazy thing where they use the handcuff on on the the holster? So was it handcuffed to someone too, so they couldn't run off with? Because I could see
that's
them
so
doing
that
that.
oh, I can imagine. I can imagine
Right.
that. Uh, yeah. So I left it in the rental car, and then so they had another, crown, but they told me, oh, they've broken before. So it kind of made sense. Oh, maybe this is partly why they don't wear them all the time, like during the day. And they how they told us is, it's more for formal events and that kind of thing. But sometimes as a state title holder, I know we wore them a lot. But I know there was a year they used a crown that had been broken on like a festival of trees to auction it off for charity, which was really neat. The topper on the tree was the crown, the Miss USA crown. So that was really neat. And they were able to raise money doing a tree like that. So,
I mean, it's a good idea. And to be honest, the crown that you got to wear as Miss USA 1997 is an incredibly beautiful crown. I don't understand why they don't use that mold because they still use a smaller one for the state level. I really love the stars crown.
oh,
It
it's so
looks
pretty.
so gorgeous. It did.
And I love the teen crown.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
really love the teen crown. I think it's very appropriate. It's so like nifty and like cute is the way I guess the way I would say it.
and now you're reminding me of why we were talking about that trip. So on this trip, they loved the crown so much, they had us wear it all day into the night. And it was like 12 hours of wearing the crowns. And we would get home and we would all have dents in our head from the crowns. And of course, the Miss Universe, or the ones with the really tall crowns, they had the deepest dent in their head from the crown.
You're speaking the truth. All of my closest friends that have had titles for a long time have nice little divots at the top of their forehead, especially above their hairline. So
that's the telltale sign,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. You know, all you have to do is shave the girl and be like, yeah, you're a pageant girl. You know?
There you go. She has the dent in her head.
Exactly. So from 89, or I guess 90 to 97, was there any gaps between that magical year of 97, or did you wait until you're eligible? Well, you would technically would be eligible. Were you at that point? Was the rules allowed? Were you allowed to compete for Ms. at 19, or did you have to wait till you're 20? At that point, because the rules have changed back and forth.
Oh,
yeah. So
wow, you could probably tell me better. I actually don't know if there was a rule. I wasn't planning to do the Miss USA pageant.
Oh, you were?
It just
Wow.
it never really. I had such a great experience as teen. You would think, oh, you'd want to do it again. I just thought this was such a great. I mean, I went on my dad's birthday. I had a 4-leaf clover in my shoe for good luck. I traveled all over, brought me to Los Angeles, won a scholarship to the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising. I started working, in the entertainment industry, doing TV shows and modeling. And I didn't really think about doing it until almost till before I was too old to do it. And I had a friend encourage me, and she said, you really should run for Miss USA. And I said, well, I kind of knew what it entailed. I did it, and I traveled with Miss USA and Miss Universe, and they are very busy girls. The Miss USA, when I was Miss Teen, I think she had 12 days off the entire year, and it's an amazing job. But I thought, how does lightning strike twice?
So that's like what,
I had
300? Is that like 350 appearances? Did I do my math right?
crazy.
Did I do my math right?
I think you probably did. They were very busy. They had certain contracts with different companies, and then Miss Universe. And it was interesting. I was the teen, but I lived in Idaho at the time, and I would travel and meet the travel manager, and then we would go to an appearance where Miss USA and Miss Universe at the time, they lived in the same apartment, and they would travel, and then maybe I'd meet them, or I got to stay with them. They were my big sisters, Gretchen Paul Hamus and Angela Visser. Love both those girls. Gretchen was from Texas, Angela was from Holland, and we'd have popcorn and watch movies together and would do appearances together, and it was just really such a great experience that I didn't really think about it too much. And then when it got closer, I had a friend encourage me, and then I started thinking about it and got in that mindset, and I competed from Idaho again, even though I had lived in California. I, was from Idaho. That was always my roots. And I went back and I competed in the last year I could have done it for Miss Idaho. And I thought, going back, boy, there is more pressure. If you've been Miss Teen USA, you just don't want to go and you let anyone down or.
So you literally took off your entire eligibility experience up to your last year off.
You mean I took my.
You took all the years that you were eligible to compete from teen on to Miss USA. So you competed in your last year and you didn't compete at all?
No.
Wow.
No.
So you really just, like, your friend was like, do it for like fun. Like, you're not going to lose anything if you lose, and if you win, then wow. So this was just like, okay, I'm going to do it for fun. Is that how you went into it? Or
well, I think I took it seriously. I knew what it entailed. It's an amazing job and opportunity, but also knew exactly what it's like. You know what I mean? Like you travel, and I had this wonderful, great, I don't want to say perfect experience, but nothing's perfect, but it was such a wonderful experience. It was like that it happened, and I felt, I don't know, satisfied with what happened, and I kind of moved on to other things and
Yeah,
just
of
wasn't
course.
really thinking about doing a pageant. And I knew, even though I loved pageants, it was nothing like that. It just didn't really, I don't know.
It wasn't impacting your life or wasn't motivating
Yeah,
you.
yeah, it wasn't something that I was kind of working in the industry, and just and my mom mentioned it. Are you interested in doing? And I thought, oh no. And you think, what are the odds of lightning striking twice? You know what I mean?
It's
It's
very
like,
rare.
that's rare.
That's why I did mention it. And if you were if you were my wife, I would make sure that I would be like, guess who I'm married to? She's so special. I, w- hey,
That is
I'm
so
sorry.
funny.
It's just, hey, sometimes if you were married to like someone fantastic in his field, I would expect her to do the same for me too. So,
That is so fun. My husband makes those jokes all the time. He
well,
he
good. He's proud
he
of
he
you. He
loves
should be
to.
proud.
He's very he's very sweet. He's very but and he was there. I thought he was more nervous. My whole family. I just
Oh
didn't
yeah.
want to embarrass, I don't know, just not do well. I wanted to, but I knew, I've always kind of felt you might have a similar top 10, but there's so much goes on the night of that pageant. It's like, you can have a great golf game and then a really bad golf game the next day.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's the judges, the night, the moment,
But
certain people, how they project themselves. I think if you change the winners, you could have, or the judges, you could have a different winner. Maybe changing the day, changing the judges, it could come out totally differently. I've always kind of wondered about that. But
but the biggest thing is this doesn't happen if you don't win your state pageant. So,
right, that's true
um,
too.
I guess my thought is, did you, my closest friend, like decided to do her last pageant last minute, so she kind of like shocked everyone. So, did
Wow.
you like let the girl like did the girls know that you were coming back on your last year? Did they get like because I don't know how it was in 97, but people tend to like start chatting like, "Oh, you know, this former national title holder, she's going to come back." And like so like was that at your state level? Was that kind of pressure? Because to me, the way I would look at it, there would be more pressure to win that state level competition than to win the USA, right? Because at
Yeah.
that point you're ready. If you don't even if you can't even get to USA, that's a real. But if you get to USA, you can at least say, you know, I've been to the two most major competitions in this system, which is a very rarity. So
It can be very, I think what you're saying, boy, you really understand this
yeah, I
world. I
understand
think
the
from the,
ball. That's why I love baseball because there's like
yeah.
there's such a like a unique and people are very like shady. So like there's like so I can see how people and girls like to chat. So like I just didn't know if there was that diverse of like divisiveness in '97 because there's no social
Well,
media. Because
yeah, well, you're
we're the
right. That's
we're
true.
your generation and my generation are very we're very close. So I graduated in 2000, so I'm definitely the last generation without social media. So
Yes.
um I I don't like you definitely didn't have the heavy scrutiny that the girls have now, but you definitely were still under a lot of stress.
That's true. It's funny because, well, let's see, the Idaho pageant that year, it wasn't a huge, but you're right. It's very hard to win a state pageant to even
Yeah,
get to
it
the.
is.
I judged Miss Texas, and I was just overwhelmed. There were so many, and so many were so amazing. And then some started looking all the same. So when someone came through and really stood out, especially in the interview, connecting with her, and then that, it it gives you such an interesting perspective when you judge. And some of these girls would say, I've been back 4 times to win my state, each time maybe they'd do a little bit better, or and then, the Idaho pageant was definitely smaller, but and I had lived in California. I think you have to be back there. It was like 6 months or something, but that's where was from. That's
That's
where
still the
my
current
root.
rule. Yep. So that's right.
Yeah, it was like my roots, Miss Idaho. Every pageant the few that I did was Miss Idaho, and that's kind of where I was born and raised. So it was in the northern part of Idaho, and I didn't know a lot of the girls, so I'm not sure what they heard or what. And they were all nice, so I don't know. But it is pressure, going to the state or the national. It's different kinds of pressure, like you say, to go, and you just want to do well. And then, you have the one shot if it's the last year or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So I'm just trying to think, how that went, and it's, you know, if you didn't have that pressure from the girls, then you really were able to really focus on yourself. So then I guess, how did USA feel? Like, did you feel more pressure at your state than at USA, or was USA more stressful for you?
I well, yeah, I mean, I wanted to go back and do a good job, but I knew, anything can happen at the national level. It's like, sports, there can be an injury, there can be, the questions are they were such a big part of it. A girl can be doing very well. She can do great at preliminaries, but it comes down to those final questions. And we often see that on TV where things really change based on that. So I knew all of that, and I just wanted to do a good job. And I told my family, anything can happen. I think they were more stressed than I was. And I remember being in the final moment with the girl that ended up winning, and we were in the soundproof booth. And you're thinking in that moment about what's going to happen. And I had that moment with Teen of winning and getting the crown and sash, and nearly hyperventilating in that moment where I didn't win, but I was truly excited and happy to be there down to the end. I was like, this is great. I just kind of felt like this wasn't meant for me if I didn't win. You know what I mean? Like, I really truly felt that way. I did okay in the pageant. I went on with my life. And then 3 months later, I get a call and they said, Miss USA is in the top 5. She's going to win Miss Universe. And it was tape delayed in California. So,
Whoa, wait, you're. This is a huge story here.
yeah.
Wait. Okay, so in '97, they weren't showing it live, at least in your state, I guess, that you were living in,
No.
and so they called you, and they already knew who won. Oh my God, that
No,
must no.
no, a friend of mine called me,
Okay,
and that day my mom said, "Are you going to watch the pageant?" I had a couple people, because the thing, if for any reason you can't fulfill your duties,
it's
the
the
first
it's the
runner-up
coolest
takes
rule ever,
over.
right?
Right, you always hear that thing at the end that they go through, but it doesn't. I don't. I think it only had happened a couple times before it happened that year, and I did. I seriously, Miss Universe is such a huge thing. I didn't really think, I don't know, I just didn't. I don't even know if I was going to watch I was reading a magazine. I remember when I got this call. She's in the top 5. I think she's going to win. And this friend played it over the phone as Miss USA won Miss Universe, and she said, that
That's
means
how
you're
you
Miss
found
US.
out. You found
Yeah,
out over speaker.
I found over the
only
phone.
only in '97 is that the way you find
Yeah,
out?
I hear over the phone, and my
And
mom
our
said,
generation
"Well,
today would have a hissy fit if the internet goes out and you had to.
oh, totally."
Do
It
you,
was like she's playing it. I was in shock, and my mom said, "Well, I guess you're Miss USA," and she picked out a colander and slapped it on my head. And my boyfriend, who's my now husband, went outside and picked some flowers out of the yard, and he threw those in my arms, and then I have a picture of the colander and the flowers.
I was gonna say, please tell me there is a photo of that moment because
There, oh gosh, I do. I don't
good,
know where
good,
that photo is, but
good.
it's been, yeah,
That
there's a photo.
because you deserve a photo for that moment. That's too. It's too to 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 have that moment. One, you don't even get to see your sister win Miss Universe,
no.
you have to hear it relayed, and then you have your future husband like destroying your mom's rose bed to give you flowers, and your mom's making a crown out of paper. Classic, right?
She
Classic.
threw the salad colander, big silver salad
Yes.
colander on my head, and I was wearing red sweat bottoms and a white T-shirt,
Okay.
and that
So
was
you're
my
almost
crowning moment.
you're
They
almost
had
red,
me
white, and
take a
blue.
little.
You're almost red,
Oh
white, and
yeah,
blue, right? Yeah.
there you go. There you go. Oh my, it was a crazy crowning moment. How many people have a colander on their head when they become Miss USA, right?
I think you're the one and only, darling.
I did. So that was, and then you think, oh wow, what happens next? And I got the call the next day.
You're going
Okay,
to New York, right?
it was LA. They said you're
Oh,
moving into the apartment.
so the apartment
And
in '97 was in LA, not New York.
yes, it was,
Awesome.
I think it moved the next year. And so Miss USA had an apartment on the 5th floor, and Miss Universe was on the 6th floor, and you each lived with a lady, a chaperone. And I
Right, of
knew
course.
some of the people from Teen, which was great. I knew some of the travel managers. I knew some of the people in the company. Um,
So
it's funny when
your life
what's
like
that?
completely changes in like 24 hours then, or is it in 48 hours?
It did. It took a
Did they
turn,
did they
boy.
just did they just wipe your wardrobe and be like, okay, we need your entire wardrobe, like, or did they say just leave your wardrobe, we're gonna provide you a whole new wardrobe?
You know, it's you do bring some things, and then they take you, and you have that moment. They take you and they find some appearance clothes, and you have the photo shoot. And a lot of things were changing that year. And I remember having a lot of local appearances in Los Angeles that year. There was a lot of change going on with the pageant and everything. But it was 3 months later after the pageant that
But
I
you're still
became
Miss
Miss
USA,
USA.
so who cares if it's a local appearance or international? You're still Miss USA, so right? I mean,
Yes,
right? So
it was amazing. It was so it was just incredible to have that experience again. And then I was able to, just get involved, and you had the office hours, and then you would, um, I did a lot with the DARE program, and then I did a lot with the different charities they had, and they kind of incorporate the girls' personality into a year, which is really wonderful. So I enjoyed that. But I don't even know if a lot of people knew I was Miss Teen USA when I competed at USA. I didn't really mention it a lot in interviews. I remember having local interviews competing, and people would say, "Why don't you bring that up?" And I had this thing of, I kind of want to be seen on my own merit as Brandi from Idaho. Not everybody knew.
well,
It wasn't like this big thing at Miss USA that Miss Teen USA is running for Miss USA again.
but Brandy, in all sincerity, I don't know how many of your other colleagues had, because prior to that, 83 is the first time you won it in 89. So that's fast math. That's only about 15 competitors prior to, then another 7. So you only have about 20 sisters that.
True, that's
So
true.
that's not a lot of people that could potentially compete in the Ms. category. So you at that point, and I absolutely agree with you. Why point out that you want them to recognize you for the accomplishments that you have currently? That's just a footnote, but it's a cool footnote. It's a really cool footnote.
Yeah, it's kind of like some I guess it's how you look at it. I thought, oh, I should come in here and come in on my own merit. Now, I'm sure people in the pageant world might have known, or some people from the company, but I just kind of wanted to, I don't know. It's not like I hid it, but it didn't really come up a lot. So I don't think it was interesting. It was not a big thing when they would give local interviews or whatever. Hey, you were Miss Teen USA. Now you're running for USA. Is that a lot of pressure? It didn't come up too much, and I didn't really go out of my way to bring it up. I don't know. I just, maybe that wasn't. I don't know. In hindsight, was that good, bad? I mean,
It was
someone could criticize either way.
But it was probably also just a kind of like a knowledge based thing. Also, I mean, in 1997, I remember, you know, that was my high school years. And I mean, my parents were the biggest dorks in the world, and we had every kind of computer you could think of. And I mean, the internet was very primitive. I mean, we were stealing, I was fully admit I was using Napster, stealing music, at 15 years old. So like, I don't think that like people had like Wikipedia databases like tracking every single thing. Like, so like
That's true.
there was a book that said that had you in there, but
Sure.
there wasn't like a thing that would pop up and be like, oh, she's
Yes.
also this, and this. That took
Yeah.
time for someone to come up and be a stalker and have all that stuff. Someone had to like put that together. So it sounds like
Right.
you won your title at like the best time. The stalkers still had to do like a lot of research, and like you could focus on the other stuff. Like to me it sounds like the 90s in general was a great time to be a title holder, because you could really focus on your agenda and really help people that you want to, and really help promote things that are what you are focused on, than having all these distractions. So
Oh, it was so great. And I've met so many just fantastic ladies through the pageants, and going back to the reunion, the 60th reunion, and you kind of, see some of the girls you knew before and meet some of the recent ones, and some of the ones that it was such a neat experience to see. They had Time Magazine there, and all these women who share this bond, having this experience. And it was really interesting talking to them about their year, what stuck out to them, or their experience, and you all kind of share that. So it was really, really unique.
before I take our last break, I guess I should ask this question because you have a daughter. Do you think that as she grows up, do you think that she's going to have any kind of pressure, like because of social media nowadays? Do you think that because you are the first, and you have both titles, do you think that she might be on that pressure? Do you think people are going to encourage her to win a title or going to acting? And do you think that pressure will be more intense for her?
It's funny, I have two daughters.
You have
I
two
have,
daughters. So sorry.
yes, Katie is my miracle baby. She was 3 months premature, 11. So sweet, just the sweetest, kindest. Oh, she's like a shining light. I know I say that I'm her mom, but she really is just the sweetest. And then I have Ava, um, who is just, well, we named her Zilla, like Godzilla, because she came out destroying everything. And in fact, I
There
won't
has to be
show her the,
one, right? There has to be one,
yeah,
right?
I won't show her the crown because I know it'll get, that'll be the second broken
Well, you have
crown.
to
But
show her one day, so it's gonna
yeah,
happen.
I'll have to show her. But
At least for me, because your legacy should be defended. So please,
that's
please,
okay.
please don't. I'm gonna be, don't make me say that I'm in 60s and your title hasn't been defended in any fashion. Okay.
Love that. That is so. I love
It is
that.
the truth,
You
That's
you
what that was like the legacy question that I just, because now do you feel that there's going to be a burden toward your family? I guess is the question.
It's funny. Katie's never seen the pageants. My 11-year-old. I don't think she was curious enough. There was one moment she had a 5 minutes of, oh, maybe do I want to do a and then I kind of told her about it, and she's like, oh, she's just been her own person. And but now she's shown an interest in acting, and she loves singing, and those, and that actually I wouldn't have wanted her to do those things. I would want her to do something, I don't know if I could pick, but here she is showing an interest in those things. And they're their own person. They kind of decide what they like. And
Of
she hasn't
course. I
really
mean, that's the
mentioned
best
doing.
way. Isn't that the best way to do it? Because if you push them in any direction, then they'll just resent you.
Yes. And okay, I'll tell you a funny story about, so Katie, when she was little, she knew there was some crown. She saw pictures on with the crown on my head, and so her dad told her, "Your mom was the queen, so that makes you a princess." Well, she took that literally. So she would go to
I
school,
love your daughter so much already, and I don't
and
even know her. Yes.
she would
Your
she would
husband,
tell
first
kids.
of all, your husband sounds like an awesome guy, because that's exactly what I would do if I had a daughter and my wife was a pageant title holder. Okay, I would totally be the same way. So that's awesome.
It's so she actually thought she was a princess. She took it literal and went to school, and then she would get, those headbands you get at a birthday party with the crown, and she would go to school with this thing on her head at that whenever she could. They wouldn't allow her in school. I'm a princess. I have to wear this. And I thought, oh no, she can't go to school with that. They're going to think I'm this pageant mom that's putting my daughter in a crown. But she really wanted that crown on her head and wore it because she thought she was a princess for a while. And I told my husband, you've got to tell her how this really works. It's just sort of a queen for a year and then you're not. It's not like you're really royalty. We had to explain that whole thing, that it's not. And
But
it really kind of crushed her.
but you are forever Miss Teen and Miss USA. So
That's right.
technically you're stretching the truth, because you're always recognized as Miss USA. And if I was running an organization, I would, that was the one things that I just don't understand, is that you should have like a legacy sash that you're welcome to wear anytime you want. That is a specific legacy, because in my opinion, your daughter's not all wrong. And I mean, I understand for school, because school's just weird about that, But like,
Well,
your
oh
daughter's
yeah,
she is kind of a princess,
she thought
especially
it
at the
was like
level you are at, because in my opinion, USA is the top. I mean, it's above America in my opinion by far. So this is
oh, that's so.
it
I
is.
always tell people they're both huge titles. It's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. I know.
there's Burger King and there's McDonald's.
Yeah, but
They're
there is one
different,
better.
but they're
There's
there's
Coke.
one has a Happy Meal, right?
Right, but there's Coke and Pepsi, and it's, Coke is above Pepsi. It just is.
Oh, that's so sweet. They would say, what was your talent? And then you feel like, oh, because I did a pageant with,
Well,
where I
you
would
say
dance.
dance. No, you just say
Yeah,
dance, right?
exactly,
You just
exactly.
say
And there's so much, people have perceptions that they don't know pageants of what it's like, and it's really interesting to hear that when you're in the world you understand how much it is. And it's not just, even though Miss USA, they'll call it a beauty pageant, there were so many gorgeous. How do you pick? That's in the eye of the beholder. Who's the most beautiful, or who answered the questions the best. It's all in the eye of the beholder. And sometimes someone just has a really special night on that stage and she was meant for that. And you can go in and you can prepare. That's what I tell girls, is just prepare, do everything you can, and then you got to have fun and see what happens. And sometimes it's meant to be, and sometimes it's meant to put you on another path. But
But
um
I'm gonna also like really point you out specifically, because there's an elite thing that I see with people that do really well in pageants, and it's your personality. And no matter how young or old you are, okay, your personality stands out. Like, there's a reason why you won this title. Like, if I would put a cheerleader that has no experience talking to the media, there's no way that we could have a very long form conversation with that same person. They would have to work up to that. You have these skills. There is a reason why you won. One of the reasons why is you were able to communicate very well, and you still have those skills. You can just pull them out of your box of tools, and that, clearly you have those. So communication is a huge thing that is definitely needs to be pointed out, because you clearly had those skills when you won Miss USA.
oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. It's, after all these years, it's something you wonder, do you still, you don't want to disappoint anyone ever when you meet someone and you're a former whatever, you want to live up to the, I don't know, expectation and the title, because it's more than just you. It's a title you're representing. That's what I
Right, that
always say is,
legacy, that legacy thing,
yeah,
right?
you want to have a good, and like with Katie, my daughter was so sweet. She said, but were you famous? And I would say, well, in the pageant world, people know who you. I was trying to explain. She's like, but were you famous? And I said, well, and then I
Yes,
worked
the
on this
answer
game.
is the answer is always yes.
I know.
You just need to be modest and say yes. I was famous.
I didn't know how to answer her, and I worked.
You're just like so modest. Like you just need to say yes. I was famous.
Kind of for a window of time, but like
Right.
now, and so in this game show I was on for 7 years, I told her, well, in the game show world, yes, and I would have people stop, and as Miss USA, people lined up to get your autograph, and you would meet with, and she said, oh, so she went to school, and if someone ever gave her a hard time, she would say, my mom was famous, and and then her friend pointed out to her, well, she wasn't like Zac Efron famous.
Oh my God. Well,
It was so
Zach will
funny.
have his 15 minutes, and his clock is ticking as well. So, his
It's all,
as soon as
High
he
School
gets the beer
Musical.
belly, and Zach will fall from grace as well.
I don't see that happening with him, right?
Maybe, maybe
In
not. I'm
High
not
School Musical.
right. I'm not, wishing any bad, stomach abs on him. But like, we all get 15 minutes, and we have to be as productive. Sometimes we're like Tom Hanks, and we get 60 years of 15 minutes, and some people we only get 1 year or 30 seconds. So
It's so funny. It it it's just it's really amazing, and your kids, but they are the most, they keep you level headed and everything. It's like they're proud of you, but then they get older and they get embarrassed, or whatever. So I don't know what they'll do. Like there's little Zilla, that Ava is her name, and Katie, she said, Mom, will they ask you about your kid? She thought it was neat. I was doing a podcast. She said, will they ask you about us? I said, well, it's really about, kind of the industry and pageants. And she said, well, if they ask, be sure and tell them one of your kids is an angel and the other one is a screaming crier.
your kids sound like hey, I know you live in LA. It sounds like you guys would be a really good case to do a reality television show. I'm just saying,
Oh my goodness.
it sounds like you guys would be, it sounds like I would at least view a couple episodes, because I'm sitting here
Oh
laughing.
my goodness. My second one, I don't know. She'll either be in prison or running a company. I don't know which it'll be at this point.
Prison is not good, but like running a company is good. We need
Yes.
we need more female owners. So okay, good. That's great.
I joked to keep me. It was funny. My first one was born 3 months early, and she had a really hard medical start. And I was just praying with the second one that it would be okay, medically, and and she was born, close to her due date, and everything was okay. But she had a really strong-willed personality. She came out swinging, so I was like, wow, I didn't think about that part being hard. But she's so adorable. She has a really sweet side too. I think when you have strong girls, it's a good thing, because the world is tough, and they know who
I
they are, and they'll be able to take things on.
I absolutely agree that um, I'm an only child, and I definitely think you need to raise women with a little gusto, and believe that you need to raise your boys being very polite and treating them like princesses, and like women should always be on guard, and always making sure that they're taken care of personally. Yeah, it's the way it should be. I mean, you should be trying to always win the woman over, and I mean, it's just the way it should be. I mean, like, every great guy has a great woman behind her, and if not right next to her. So, and if the guy's not willing to admit that, then he's just a fool. So,
Aw, I
it's just
think
the truth.
that's
It's just
wonderful.
the truth.
I think that's really sweet. I do. I think, and the respect is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just want them to respect themselves and whatever they want to do. I'm so excited to be here and see what it is, and I can share, you know, my stories with them. But it's funny, neither one of them have really. Katie's seen some of the pictures and been curious, but they haven't seen the pageant. So,
Well,
it's
hopefully,
interesting.
this will help to germinate some thought in that pattern. It sounded like my request of you being on my show has germinated something. So maybe maybe they'll be interested in seeing some of your history. So
Yeah, I think it's really, it was, I tell her stories all the time about how amazing it was to travel and just, whatever you do in life, no matter what it is, just bring yourself to it in your own flair, and just give it your all, because that's all I really ask for her, from them in school, is just, it's like they're distance learning right now. Just give it all you can, do your best, and bring yourself to everything you do. And that's all I ask for. If someone gets a C or whatever, as long as they put 100% to what it is. But they're both hardworking, and I'm really proud of them. I think we've all learned a lot lately, and just have learned to appreciate the simple things in life, right? That we took for granted. I mean, this is kind of fun to talk about,
I
you know.
can't. I mean, I think that I've come much more closer with my family in the last 7 months.
Yeah,
So
it's true.
I unfortunately have never had the opportunity to buy a house in my young 37 into 38 years. So um, um, having to go through quarantine at 38 with my 7-year-old parents is very interesting. It's not a life
Wow.
experience that I expected, but we very much cohabitate, and my photography business wasn't really expecting to literally come to a screeching halt. So it's a very
Yes.
interesting kind of dilemma. So yeah,
My hat's off to
oh,
you
I
for being
appreciate it.
there for your parents like that. I'm sure that's, you
I'm
know,
I'm very concerned about my mom. So yeah, yeah.
oh,
So yeah, it's a very I there's two ways you can either divide in something like this, or you can come closer together. So
yes. No, I agree completely. You wondered at the beginning, boy, will there be more divorce with this going on and that
there
kind of thing,
probably
but
will.
a lot of people, well, yeah, I'm sure there'll be some, but then I heard some statistic that it's brought people, I mean, it is, there's that pressure and financial pressure, and businesses, and then there's the other side, like you said, where people come closer together because we all took just the simplest things in life for granted. We all did. You don't realize you're doing it until something's taken away. Just like the simplicity, like for my kids, of going to school. My daughter
Hmm.
loved school and her friends, and not getting to see, and it's just, I think sometimes there's lessons in life. And even as we're talking about pageants, sometimes you don't even see the lessons or the things you learned until you get well past it. And then you look back at it and it becomes clear, like a chapter of your life. And you look back on that chapter and it becomes much more clear. It's hard to see when you're in it. You're in survival mode, but we'll get there. We'll all get together, and I think people are leaning on each other and family, and that's what we do. Friends, check in on people. That's what I always say.
Yes.
If you're having a good positive day, call someone up, check in on them. If you're feeling good energy and good, share that with somebody. Now, if you're down in the dumps, don't call anybody, but well, actually, you can call your mom, call whoever. But
Right.
I'm just saying, if you have a little bit of extra energy, share that with someone, or just check, especially people living alone or taking care of, being caretakers, check in with them too. Like, we can all kind of pitch in that way, just for support. It's important to have support in anything.
I just wanted to take one extra second and talk about our sponsor of the week, Mid Atlantic Video and Photography Production. No matter if you're planning a wedding and you need a wedding videographer, you're doing a music video, or doing a commercial, they are the team to get the job done. You can reach out to them at 443-422-3830. Again, that's 443-422-3830. Or you can go right to their website at mavpp.com. Now let's get right back to this great interview. Okay, so after our second break, I usually say to my lovely guest, the floor is you if you have anything, but you're retired, you're just living the good life. But we are in this weird world. So if there's anything important that you want people to know or to donate to, please let's help some people.
Yeah, I just think anything that you can do to heard one of your guests when you called me to do the interview, she was talking about donating to the local
Food
people,
pantry.
the food pantry. Yes, I thought that was a wonderful idea. Donations, any way you can give back, find a family, anyone that you can help in any sort of way, whether it's going grocery shopping for someone or the elderly, like I said before, checking in on people that are living alone is a big thing.
I absolutely agree because when I was very young, when I was 17 to like 22, I would occasionally cut several senior live-in home, I don't know, live-in home people, and so I you would see them pass away, but I would you would cut their grass. So yeah, I know how important that is because they would get such a joy, like, oh, there's Paul, he's gonna cut my grass. They'd have to come out, especially that generation. They were all those. That was the greatest generation in the world. So they'd always have to come out to the porch and they'd have to greet you, and they have to can't not. You have to give the boy a water, okay? He has to have glass. Yeah,
Yes.
it has to be a glass of, because that generation, he has to have a glass of water. It has to be in the glass, and it has to give him ice cubes, okay? That's the whole,
Yes.
I remember it, yeah, I agree with you, absolutely. So it makes me cry because that kind of hospitality just doesn't exist anymore.
Absolutely. I think, and you see people doing, things for each other here and there. And we're getting back to I take bike rides with my kids all the time now, and we do some of the basic things that I grew up in Idaho doing. And you know, it's been really, really good just to kind of get back to those simple things, playing games together, connecting. Um, so it's been challenging, I think, for everyone in different ways, and everyone's got their hardship and trying to be safe and all of that, and balance that with just life and kids. And I know a lot of parents being home with the kiddos, not being in school is really challenging. So my heart goes out to just everyone.
Well, you brought up games, so are you guys
Oh,
playing the Price is Right board game?
I don't have a Price is
How do you
Right
not?
board game.
No, how do you not have a Price
I
is Right board game? Come
I
on,
I don't.
that's
You
like
know,
like first of all, it is one of the best concepts for a simple. Everyone goes to the grocery store unless you're like Bill Clinton and he doesn't know. Okay, but everyone goes to the grocery store. You buy eggs. You buy furniture.
well, and
It is such a
nowadays
great
that's the
game.
only. For a while there, that was the only place you could go for to the grocery
Right,
store. Even
exactly.
people, if you wanted to see anyone, you were at the grocery store. That's so
Right.
true. No, I tell you, I joke that I showed refrigerators and toasters, and now
And
I
you
just
and you
pull
made
open the
them look the
fridge.
best refrigerator in the entire world, okay?
Yeah, like
and
cut
and
back to.
and I know I was watching because I watched that for I know for a fact because I didn't know specifically it was you, but I watched that whole from like 97 to like 2000 when Bob Barker left. So I know I watched your group. I
Oh
know,
yeah, that was
yeah, I know for you
definitely.
had to have been on the show at that point. So
I
I know,
was for
so
sure.
yeah. So yeah, I'm sure I was like, yep, that's a great toaster. Yep. Got to buy that
Yeah,
toaster.
I tell my kid, I'd say, I used to work in appliances. I used to show a toaster and an oven. Now now it's more like, what do you want for breakfast? And I'm opening the fridge in my
Wait,
bathrobe,
now you're a short cook, right?
Yeah,
You,
exactly. I'm
you went from
throwing things at
Sears,
the toaster.
You went from Sears Roebuck, which none of these kids will ever know what
Exactly.
Sears Roebuck is because it was just, even my generation doesn't knows what you went from Sears to being a short cook. So
Exactly, exactly. There was the glamorous, how to open a fridge all beautifully and present it. Now it's just more opening it to get the kids bread, throwing things into the toaster. The nails aren't maybe beautiful, and I'm definitely not in a sequin cocktail dress with some heels. But it's
You
like
know,
those chapters in life of
you
your
know,
book of life.
oh shucks, you don't have your girly girl look on. What a shame, you know. So
It's so funny. It's so yeah, so The Price is Right, that's another I
that's
grew up
probably a
with that.
that's probably a whole episode, but
Yeah,
because
that
I don't want to hold you because I know I've kept you for an hour and a half and I really appreciate it. But do you have one story for any of our game show listeners? Is there a cool story? Because Bob Barker is just an interesting person, and the whole show is such interesting. Was there one cool experience?
well, I grew up with the show, so I, would pretend. And so when I got on the show, my friend said, "We used to play that in our house." And he was just a wonderful host, so entertaining, just smooth as silk. He had done that for years. He was just really, and I got to work with both Bob and Drew Carey. So I got both experiences in Drew's first year. It was just an amazing, I always said it was like working at Disneyland because the
I
energy,
would
I mean,
agree with that.
people were
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
literally falling on the floor and foaming at the mouth over vacuums. I mean, of course, if it's a car, they're going down. They're going on the ground. Some form of breakdancing is going to happen. They are excited. And so the energy, it was just so exciting. And one of the funny stories was when Drew started, a lady got so excited, she peed her pants. And they had
I'm sorry. That's just hysterical. It
and
really
I
is.
remember they had to take the pants back in the hair and makeup room and blow dry them for the spin the wheel or whatever, to try and just
Whoa.
cover it up and not embarrass the poor lady. She was excited, she had stood in line for a long time and you're winning prizes. It's exciting.
I haven't had the privilege of going to the actual taping, but I've watched several um, of those Rabbit fans that stand out there for sometimes hours to get into the first taping, and it's got to be just such an incredible experience to just be in the audience alone, being one of the cast. I mean, it's just like it's what defines morning television in America, in my opinion. Because if we don't have Prices Right, I really think that it's such a I don't, it's just like how I believe how Regis was for so long with morning television. Price is Right is exactly the same way. It just it's a it's a marker in time. It really is.
Oh yes, there lots of energy. It's like I remember the first time going into the studio, I thought, wow, this is like a rock concert. How loud and excited when Bob would come out those doors. And then later when Drew came out, it was just the excitement of the audience. And I remember there was, in pageants, it was the same kind of the night of the show, the cheering, but this was in a smaller studio and you could just feel the energy. It was really an exciting place and people still get so excited. It's really amazing to see people winning and that kind of thing. It was a lot of fun.
I'm totally jealous, and it sounds like it was a great life experience as well as. I mean, you got paid. It just sounds like it's a great job. I mean, I hope it
And
was
it's
as
funny because
exciting as it sounds. It was, and so.
and I think the pageants help because it was on stage. There's a lot of things that you would do in just comfort on stage and things like that. I mean, you have doors. And another funny story is we had really quick changes. Sometimes you had to I would play these characters in the showcases and you'd have to get into the Santa Claus. It was live to tape. So they would pause it if they had to, but they had to basically do like a live show. And if they had to pause it, they would, but they didn't want to. So it was quick changes, and sometimes you were literally flying into the door to show a sofa or an oven as the doors are starting to open. One girl, she was literally airborne flying into the sofa, and Bob would get a kick out of that when something like that. It was
So,
like
you,
baseball, sliding
right,
into
right,
third
yeah, yeah.
base.
So, do you think that was just for kicks, or just like how they wanted to run the show? Because that sounds like so like, or they were just so time crunched. Because from what I've heard, and didn't you guys record several episodes at a time on one day? You would do two or three, or is that not right?
Yes, they were. The schedule changed, but from what I remember, we would do a couple on Monday, and
Right.
it
Okay.
depended on the host schedule. It changed over the years, and
Gotcha.
then you would do like maybe one on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, you would do a couple in a day. You're right, not a bunch. And then they wouldn't tape on Fridays, and then the schedule would change. But they like to run it live
Like a
to tape,
mill.
so it was
Right.
taped,
Yeah.
but
Right.
like a live show. They wanted that
Wow.
excitement and with the time schedule, because there was a lot of rehearsal. You would rehearse every prize, every game. There was, oh gosh, somewhere between 80 and 100 and
Wait, wait,
something
wait, wait,
games.
wait, wait, wait. They would have you rehearse the way they would want you to like present. Like really? Like they were that like
Yeah,
specific? Wow.
well, you would
Okay.
have to get your mark. So if they
Gotcha.
do, say you're showing a hot tub and they want to do the logo on the hot tub of whatever brand it was,
Of course.
they
Yep.
need to
Sponsor.
pan in, put the logo on, and then you got to make sure your hand doesn't go into the mark. And then they would pull out, and you would have some standard things you would do, but they
That
would
makes
have to
sense.
do the setup for the shot. And so you would rehearse everything. You wouldn't have the contestant there that would win, but you would walk through the games as we normally would, or the cash register, or safe crackers, or whatever it was. And then you would maybe have 20 minutes to a half hour to get ready and then come out. And there was one girl that was amazing. She was in pageants. We were in the Miss USA pageant together. She would not be ready, and you would think, oh no, she won't be ready for the show. How's she going to do it? And she was like superwoman. She would come out 10 minutes later completely ready, hair and makeup. I swear,
Wow.
she had a magic wand in her purse. I don't know how she did it.
You know,
And she would not be late.
I have run into a couple of pageant contestants and models that can put themselves together very quickly, but that's a very rare talent. So
Yeah, it was amazing. She could, get herself together and be on the stage wherever there were three doors, and she'd be right in there, and you'd turn your back and there she was ready. It was amazing. It was
hey,
a gift she had.
I would agree. I'd have to say that for our listeners that are not professional models, that's not an easy thing to happen. So that's a pretty cool um, magical power or superpower to have. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
well, I'm absolutely blown away and so thankful for you to grace my very small podcast that is growing, and I really thank you for really giving my audience really a absolute insight on that experience, and I really thank you for your time, and I hope you really have enjoyed your time on our podcast.
Thank you so much, Paul. I really appreciate the interest, and I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to, kind of take a walk down memory lane. You jogged my memory. I'm not as forgetful as I thought.
No, no. Um, they're just they're it's a book that just needs to be reopened. You
That's
close the book,
right.
and then you just need to reopen it. It might be a little dusty. There's a YouTube channel that uses Barbie dolls, and it's supposed to make fun about how guys are like not attentive. So one of the episodes, they go into the Barbie's brain, and we see this hall of knowledge. And it says hall of knowledge, and it just continues to go down the hall, and everything is inventoried, and she goes to the exact date that the offense occurs, she pulls out the whole cabinet and she goes to the day and the time and she pulls out the the envelope. So it's kind of how I imagine how like memories work for at least for females.
Yeah.
You know. So at 9 o'clock on March 7th, 2008.
Absolutely. It all comes back, doesn't
You
it?
just have to dust. You have to unlock it, right? So.
And it's funny, sometimes it seems like a lifetime ago, and other times you'll remember things so vividly. And
Yeah.
it's just, and
It's the
it'll be neat for
smells.
you.
It's the
You get
smells,
to,
really.
yes. And it's fun. You get to hear this experience from different points of view and different people's experience and what they do. And that's what's so interesting is just the different stories you'll hear and just different things you'll get out of it from different people. I'm sure some things will come up a lot and then you'll hear unique things with each individual. That's what makes it different and exciting.
But there are some like fundamental things that I've noticed that ring out with all of my successful title holders that have been able to break that ceiling. One, there's this underlining passion and also this innate want to be on television and see that Miss America on television and sitting with mom or dad at a young age. Everyone says that. That is something that's
like really.
That's something like I really don't know if you can win that title and not have that passion. Like, maybe you could do anything in life, but like that's something that's just so consistent. And then being able to be part of some kind of talent, being, dance or playing an instrument, there's some kind of correlation there. And that everyone that has won an elite title says and that's what I've always listened to, and I think that my listeners have really paid attention to that too.
I love your comparisons to sports.
I think it's the easiest way. I think it's just the easiest way because I think most people can relate to sports,
Absolutely. I remember my mom telling me when you were born, your dad, he grew up with two brothers. My grandfather worked, he had the sporting goods store. He worked with Tommy Lasorda in Little
Wow.
Pocatello, Idaho. So my dad grew up in this sports family. And then I was born and he thought, well, what do I do with a girl, And then here I went into pageant. So I think my, down the line, he connected with that whole competition end of it with sports.
Oh yeah.
And he was always, and the night I won teen, it was his birthday, so it was really neat. I still feel, I always wonder if it wasn't my dad's birthday and that came up in my final question, would I have won? Because it was a really special moment. I got to wish him happy birthday. I guess it was meant to be.
Yes.
So July 25th is a special day. It's his birthday, and it was that anniversary of that night.
I would have to say that he probably recalled that entire moment until the day he left this earth. So I'm sure that was his crowning moment. So I'm sure of it. So I'm sure he was very proud of it.
Thank goodness he hasn't left the earth yet.
Oh, well, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to prejudge.
No, I might have said something. My husband's father passed away. Maybe I said something along the way, but that it was a really kind of a, different things
absolutely.
that you remember. That's something that really sticks out to me. But yeah, I can see the sports connection. I was impressed with your kind of take on that and the background stories and, everyone has an interesting story and I'm sure you'll get to hear a lot of them with what you do. How long have you been doing this for?
I've been doing the show for 2 years, but I have been doing photography for 10 years, and then my mom and I have owned our travel agency for 15 years. So.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yep.
You mentioned your mom. You close to your mom?
Extremely close to my mom. So.
That's awesome.
So.
I love my mom too. My mom, she was so supportive. I have to say that too. Like when you go into this, if you have a good support system, my mom, I call her Cheryl the Pearl.
Mhm.
She actually sold Cherry Hill dresses. She
Oh,
knew
really?
Cherry
Okay.
Hill back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, my dad had a sporting goods store, and then my mom had gowns in the back. And it was so funny. The front was sports, and in the back there were
Hey, to me
pageant
that
gowns.
sounds like a really winning combination, because boys go where the girls are. So,
That's
I
true.
mean,
That
I mean,
hey,
I'm being dead serious. Boys are very simple. If you can get the girls to come somewhere, will go where the girls are. It's not that complicated. So,
that is funny. Maybe that's why they were in there shopping for different things so much. But
yeah.
there you go.
Well, thank you so much, and
Thank you,
well,
Paul. I so appreciate it,
You'll
and I
have to come
wish
on
you
the
the
show
best
again. Oh, thank you. I
with your family and everything.
and you
And
too.
be safe, be well, and take care of yourself. And thank you for the interest. I had fun.
And I as well. Brandi, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to start this podcast and really have an opportunity to make great connections. What an incredible person you are, and what an incredible family you clearly have. I'm just completely blown away. There is a reason, like I said during the podcast, why you won Miss USA. You have all those skills, and I hope that my listeners really do pick that up and understand the little nuggets of gold that you gave them during this podcast, because you gave them so much knowledge, and I really hope that my listeners pay attention. So I thank you so much. I hope you stay safe and your entire family does, and I wish you all the best, and I hope to hear from you soon. You're always welcome to come back on the show anytime you'd like. I always want to remind our listeners that we have two incredible shows. The podcast, which you're listening to, which is called the Total Focus Podcast. And I also have a movie review show with my co-host, Ivan Carlos, where we talk about movies and just have fun. So please stay tuned. Please like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, give us a thumb down, give us some comments. The most important thing is that you enjoy the content and give us some feedback. And as always, stay tuned.